All right, here's a good question. They've got two planes. One leaves from LA going to Denver, and the other one leaves from Denver going to LA. Let's look at information about each one of them. They say the total distance is 850, and they want to know when these planes meet. So for the distance, I'm not sure when they would meet for distance. Let's call that an x. But if the total distance is 850, then this distance that the Denver plane would go, you could write as 850 minus whatever the other one's gone. That's when they would meet. So say if this was 400, then this one would be 450 going this way. I'm not sure what the numbers are, but I think that works. For velocity, they say this one's going 420, whereas this one's going faster at 530. For time, we don't know how long this one's going to take to meet up, but we know that the other one is half an hour later. So its time that it's flying is actually going to be the time minus a half. So I basically have two sets of data for distance, velocity, and time. Let's set up each of those. So for the LA one, let's go distance is equal to velocity times time. So the distance is x is equal to its velocity, 420, times the time. Okay, the Denver flight, again, d equals v times t. This time the distance is 850 minus x. Velocity is 530, and the time would be t minus 0.5. Hey, morning. So what I want to do at this point is if I have two equations that have the same variables in them, x and t, I want to solve each equation for one of those variables. This one's already solved for x, so we'll leave that one. But this one here, let's solve it for x. So let's maybe use the distributive property here. So 530t minus 265 is equal to 850 minus x. Let's maybe move the x to the other side so it becomes positive. And then let's move this 265 over and it'll become positive. So 850 plus 265. And then let's bring this 530 over too. So this would be minus 530t. Good. Okay, if I add those, that'll give me 1115, I think. Minus 530t is equal to x. Okay, so now I have each equation solved for x. Now that distance is going to be, or the value for x is going to be the same. So I can say at this point, I can say, well, since x is the same number, I can say that 420t must be equal to that, minus 530t. Okay, now I've got an equation that just has t's in it. That's why I do this x equals x thing. So let's add 530t to both sides. So that would give me 950t on this side is equal to 1115. Dividing both sides by 950. Let me see what that gives me on my calculator. 1115 divide 950 gives me 1.17368-ish. So that's the time that it would take, like the first airplane, it'd be an hour, 1.17 hours before it reached the other one going the other way. So this one would have gone 1.17 hours, and the one coming from the other way would have been going 1.17 minus a half, because they waited half an hour to get started. Now, if I want to know how far, I think the question says how far are they away from Denver? So if I want to know how far they are away from Denver, let's use Denver's distance this one right there. Whoops. This one right there. That would be Denver's distance, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. So let's use that number, and I'll just plug in my value for t right there. Actually, it'll be easier. Let's do it over here. This is one way easier. We'll figure out how far they are from LA, then we'll just subtract. So to figure out how far from LA, x is equal to 420 times t. So just take the number I just got on my calculator and times that by 420. So after 1.17 hours, they're going to be 492.9 miles from LA. And so if I go 850 minus that, 492.9, that should give me how far they are away from Denver. So 850. So it comes out to 357.05. That would be how many miles they are away from Denver. That's a tough question. I solved the question a couple times, once for t and once for d, and I made a mistake on the distance, and so that question is not for the faint of heart. Sort of a tougher question. Here's another one that's a little bit easier. So the triangle question. I have a triangle ABC, and they say that angle C is 6 times as large as A. So C would be 6 times A. And they say B is 44 greater than A. So B is 44 plus A. And A would just be plain A. But I know that all the angles of a triangle must add up to 180. So if I substitute what I got, B is 44 plus A, and C is 6A. So that must come out to, oh, there should be a plus. That's got to come out to 180. So if I solve this, A plus A is 2A plus 6, that'd be 8A plus 44 equals 180. Subtract 44 on each side, and then divide everything by 8. So that's 17. So angle A is 17 degrees. So I know that B is 44 plus A. So that would be 44 plus 17, or that looks to be 61 degrees. Angle C is 6 times A, or 6 times 17. And 6 times 17, I think, is 102 degrees. So those would be the measure of my 3 angles. Just to confirm, I could add them up. So 17 plus 61 plus 102. I'm hoping that adds to 180. Sure enough, it does. All right, hopefully that helps you with those 2 questions.